have two goals for this video. The first one is that I want to actually plan my projects for Christmas gifts for my friends and for my family in advance and not wait until the last minute like last year. I think last year I was knitting up until Christmas or whichever day that I was going to give folks their presents, and I don't want to do it this year. The second goal of my video is that I do have a small collection of yarn that I would really like to try to use. I don't have a ton of yarn, I don't have like a giant collection or anything, but I do have more than I'd like to have, and I want to see that if I can try to use some of it for what I'm working on. I'm a newer knitter. I started knitting about 2 years ago, and I started with dishcloths, kind of like a lot of people, and then I promptly got into trying to knit other stuff. I jumped straight, I think, into a couple of shirts. I did some socks, and I really didn't know what I was buying at the time. I kind of did the thing where you go into a store and you see a color or you see like a texture that you like, and I started sort of just buying things at random. So I've been trying to sort of work through some of the early purchases that I made. That they're not bad yarns or anything, they're just not stuff that I think I would buy now, now that I have a little bit more of an idea of my preferences. I also had a few different projects where I got nervous that I was going to run out of yarn on like a sweater, and so I bought way too much yarn. And so there are a few things that I have like been working on and trying to add into projects to try and like run through some of these colors where I don't know if I did the math wrong or if I ended up knitting a different size. I don't think my gauge was off on any of those projects because I have pretty much always done a gauge swatch on any project that I've worked on. But somehow I have continued to overbuy on yarn, I think because I'm scared I'm gonna run out. So there are a few things that I would really love to try to use up and to use to give to people, because I already have multiple things made in the yarn and I really don't want any more of those things. Now, the primary people that I'm going to be making gifts for are my mom, my dad, my sister, and my partner. And then I've got a few little things that I will be talking about at the end. But those are the 4 people that are getting like a real gift that I really want to work on, that I have put some time and energy into thinking about what they would like. And they're generally the people that I like to give gifts to that are handmade every year. Handmade gifts are something that I really love to give to people. So even before I was knitting, I was making buttons for people or making hand-drawn cards. I really, really love a handmade gift. I love receiving them, and I love taking the time to give them to people. So my mom, last year, I made her a pair of socks. I had just gotten into knitting socks and I'd kind of like ripped the band-aid off of that. And I'd made myself a pair. And then I think she got the second pair of socks that I had made. So an early technique of socks. I don't think that I did a bad job or anything, but it was a very basic pair of socks. It was just one color. I don't even think that she got any kind of pattern on it. It was just straight stockinette. And she of course loved them. But this year I want to do something a little bit more complicated and something that takes a little bit more time. And I also want to use these projects to sort of work on my skill set and try to build from there. This past year, my parents got chickens. They built a coop, and they have just this summer started getting eggs. And my mom has been really into selling the eggs, and they've just been selling them on their front porch or in their front yard. And I really wanted to do something chicken inspired for her because she's been really getting into it. And she also loves to cook and spends a lot of time in the kitchen. And I was trying to come up with some ways to combine those two things that she's interested in. Of course, there is like the emotional support chicken that I feel like I've seen a lot of people make, but I don't think that she would really have any use for like a plush chicken. Anything that I make, I'm sure that she would be happy to get, but I didn't really think that that was something that she would like want to have specifically, except for having made it for her. So what I found is I found a chicken pot holder. The pattern is called Chicken Kitchen Pot Holder, and the name of the designer is Svetlana Gibadolina. I really liked how it looked. It's a 3-color color work knit in the round pot holder that I'm pretty sure you just seam the top and the bottom together. And I have been really trying to work on my color work this year and sort of learn how to do that. And I think that'd be a great way for me to work on something that I want to get better at and something that she would also use and be really excited about having. Now the colors that they had in the design were kind of like what I would think of as like pretty traditional, like chickeny colors, red, black, and white. It was like kind of like an off-white. And my mom has her chicken coop painted like bright pink, and that's kind of like what she is going for, is like a pink and like kind of springy, kind of pastel-y color. So I think that I would probably want to do that in a different color than what the original design had, but we'll kind of look at what I've got in my stash before I make any real decisions. Up next is my dad. Last year I made him a hat and he wears it all the time. He's probably like the one person that I feel like I could make him genuinely anything and he would probably wear it. I think he's just excited to get like a handmade anything. And I really want to give him something else to kind of go with the hat. The hat that I made him was dark brown just because that's what I had. And I think I gave him the first hat that I had ever made. So again, very similar to my mom's gift from last year. It was very basic. I haven't been knitting for that long, like I said, so I feel like I was very excited to give people presents, but it was mostly like kept in the realm of things that I knew how to make or that I thought would be very easy to make to give to somebody. This year I want to give him something that kind of goes with what I gave him last year, but is a little bit more exciting and maybe like shows a little bit more of what I've learned over the past year. So I think that I want to give him a cowl, something to go around his neck. He does a lot of work outside for his job, and he also likes to be outside in general when he's not working. I thought about doing like a scarf for him, but I just think that for what he likes to do, having to deal with a scarf hanging and draping, it would not be something nice. So I found a cowl pattern that's a very basic pattern. It's actually a free pattern from the Seamen's Church Institute, and it's a very, very close to the neck ribbed cowl. It's a basic pattern, but I think that it could look really good with like a fun and weird yarn combination. He likes bright colors and he likes weird colors put together, so I'm thinking I might even try to do something where I hold different yarns together at different times to try and give it like a really funky, like sort of modeled all over the place color. I think this one will be a very quick knit because like I said, it is just a basic ribbed pattern. It's basically just a tube that goes around your neck. So that should be a pretty fast one, and it's a worsted weight pattern, but like I said, I'm probably going to just like hold a bunch of stuff together. I think it'll be a lot of like room for creativity and playing around and just like seeing what colors we like together. My sister is the third person who is getting a gift this year, and she's always a tough one because her birthday and Christmas are right up next to each other. They're within the same week. So I always have a hard time giving her two good presents. It's important to me that I don't give her just one single present for the holiday. So last year I gave her socks that I knitted, and I gave her something else that was not knitted. The socks that I gave her last year, they were the first socks that I'd ever done any sort of textured knitting pattern in it. Again, it was a very basic pattern, but it was a little bit more, I had learned a little bit more about construction, and I'd learned a little bit more about how to use different patterns to create textures on socks. And she loves socks. She wears her socks that I made her all the time, and I really want to give her another pair of socks, probably for her birthday, not for Christmas. She's kept bees in the past, and she loves bee-related things. She has a bee tattoo, and she always has all kinds of bee decorations. So I really want to challenge myself and make this pattern that I found. They're called the Be Happy socks, and the designer is Abby Marshall Smith from Devon with Love. I'm a little bit intimidated by this pattern. It's a color work pattern again, but it's all the way down the sock. I've only ever done color work on cuffs for socks, and to be honest, I have kind of a hard time figuring out how the tension is supposed to work with color work. I've made several pairs of cuff color work socks for myself, and I feel like I'm kind of all over the place with it's too tight, it's too loose. So I will be honest, this pattern for my sister makes me a little bit scared, but I feel like this is an important one where if I ever want to get better at doing color work, I need to not be scared to do like a full color work sock, because I think there are a lot of beautiful color work sock patterns, and I don't want to be limited to just on the cuff or just for myself, because I can test it over and over again on myself. The things that'll make it easier for this particular project though, is my sister has basically the same size feet as me. So if I get halfway through and it's all over the place on my tension and tightness, it's going to be pretty easy for me to identify that it would not fit her. So I'll be able to sort of like rip back and figure it out from there. Um, yeah, I think these are a really beautiful pattern. I'm scared of it. I'm scared of it, but I really, really like it. And I think that if I can do it well, she will really like it. In addition to the socks, which are the big project for her, I also want to give her some bandanas for all of her dogs. She's got 3 doggies. So this would be more like the Christmas present for her household. I learned how to make little bandanas that have ribbing that goes over a dog's collar. So you just slide it on the dog's collar and then just a regular bandana. And they're super easy to make. I thought it was very fun and very quick when I made some for my dogs. If I have time, kind of throw some of those in too. That way she gets a Christmas present and a birthday present. Last but not least is my gift for my partner. He is always getting things that I'm working on. So he has gotten a couple pairs of socks, he's gotten a hat, and I asked him what he wanted this year. So this one is not going to be a surprise, but he really wants a bandana or something to hold his hair back. And I haven't made a bandana for myself yet, and I've saved a lot of bandana patterns in Ravelry because I knew that at some point I was going to want to make a bandana for somebody. So what I found is the low key bandana. That's a free pattern, it's sport weight, and it's a really cool looking texture, and I like that one for him because it's not a super feminine, like florally delicate pattern. It looks a little bit more like gender neutral, and I think that it would work really well either tied around your neck if you wanted to use it more as like a bandana scarfy thing, or it would look really great like tied in your hair, holding your hair back. So his I think will be pretty fun for me because it is like a sort of a textured pattern for the bandana, and I just feel like anything with like textured and not just like straight stockinette is always more exciting to make. So I just have to figure out what yarn I have that would look nice for the pattern and what yarn I think he would actually wear. And that leaves just the miscellaneous projects that I want to work on for friends and other folks that I might run into over the season. I had it in my mind, I really, really want to make like magnet sets, keychains, car rear view mirror hangers, and like Christmas ornaments or tree ornaments for people. I think like working on like little small projects are always really fun. I love making magnet sets. I've done them in the past with like Sculpey and different little things that you just glue to the magnet. So I have a ton of magnets. I've got a ton of little like safety pin clips that you can make to make pins for like your shirt or your backpack. So I kind of spent some time looking around online to see if I could find projects that were very small and could be made like little miniatures to give to people. And I found a great designer named Frankie Brown that has a ton of stuff that are all very small. I found like flowers and birds and toadstools from this Frankie Brown person, and a lot of it looks like they use to make wreaths and stuff, but you get the pattern for free to make all the little things. So I want to make some like birds. I want to make some little hangers from them. I think they're all really, really sweet. I also found mini Christmas stockings from somebody named Julie Brown. The designs that they had were very much like Christmas looking with like red and white and little snowflakes and stuff on them. I don't know that I really want to go that route with like the Christmas theme, but I thought I could use that as a base pattern to just make like little socks for people. I thought that would be really fun, little sock sets that might go on a keychain. And I also found the sweater bag charm from Emma Oldhoft. And that one is also free, and that one is just a tiny little like raglan sweater design that I think would make a really, really cute ornament or a little bag charm or something. So my plan is to kind of look at all of the scraps of particularly sock weight yarn that I have, which is a lot, and see if I can't make like a bunch of little like scrappy, stripy sweaters and fun stuff. And, that way you've got things to give to people. And I think the idea of like giving everybody a sweater for Christmas, but it's like this big, is really, really funny. That is the end of the list of all of the people that I'm thinking about and all the projects that I'm thinking about for this Christmas. So I think what is next for me is I really need to look through my yarn, see what I've got. I feel like I have a lot of stuff that's going to work great for most of these projects. I honestly think that I might have everything that I need already here. There might be like 1 or 2 yarns that I don't have like a color for, but we'll kind of see when we get there. I'm gonna go through it all, pull stuff aside, and then kind of come back and see if there's anything else that I like need to have, but I think that there's not. Here is the shelf that I keep all of my yarn stuff. It's not that full of yarn, but to be honest, like this is just ridiculous that it looks like this. It's unnecessarily stressful and messy. This isn't all my stuff, but this is like sort of the stuff that I have been ignoring for the most part. So I will definitely pull all of this stuff out and we're gonna see what we're even working with because I don't know. And this is my other little box. I'm more familiar with what's in here because this is stuff that I have been working with more recently. So I'm gonna pull all this stuff out, go through it, and just see what I can come up with all of these things. Most of it is like pretty well organized in here, but like, I don't know what this is. But here we go. Now this is all my sock weight yarn, fingering weight yarn. This makes sense to me because I went through like a phase where I was just buying like sock yarn. I was obsessed with it. I wanted to make everything sock. I like couldn't stop myself. All I could see were like socks. So I've got a lot to work with over here with socks, which is great because I do have the socks that I want to make for my sister. And I've got a lot of those projects that I talked about that were sort of like the smaller charm projects are going to be fingering weight. Down here, I've got this. This is an acrylic yarn that's all tangled up. I think this could be a good yarn possibly for the bandanas that I was talking about for my sister's doggies because there's a lot of it and it's washable. Down here, I pulled these two aside because I thought these were great contenders for my dad's cowl. I think they could look really cool together, but I'll have to swatch it and see what I think. And then other contenders for his cowl, I've got these 3 colors that could work nicely. And then this is just like a teeny little bit of Noro yarn. I don't really think I'm gonna do anything with this for Christmas projects, but I don't know. I'm gonna sit that over there for now. Up next, I have got, these are my cotton yarns. This is like the first ball of yarn that I ever bought. I was so excited about the color and I got it home and I just did not know what I was doing with it. But I think this is a great option for making my partner's bandana. I think that this color is really pretty and I think that he would really like it too. And I would just be so excited to actually use the first ball of yarn that I bought. Over here, these have both been used. They are, I believe they're a cotton and bamboo. I think they're cotton and bamboo. I used them for a t-shirt that I made and I really like the t-shirt and I wound up with extra yarn. And I'm kind of thinking that this could be a good like base for my mom's color work pot holder. The white for the chicken, green as a complementary color, and then I would just be missing a 3rd color. And unfortunately, I don't have any other like cotton yarn. So I might potentially have to like buy another yarn to sort of go with that. And then last but not least, I've got these greens. I feel like I'm haunted by this yarn. I just like have so much of it. I've been trying to use it up. And I don't really want to work with this right now. So this is getting ignored. Don't want that. I'll put it over here with the other like question mark yarns. But yeah, so far I've got, we'll say, bandana, pot holder, but I would really like to have like maybe a pink yarn since I was talking about doing like the pink stuff for my mom and the chickens. For my dad, this would be for doggy bandanas for my sister, and that just leaves picking out colors for her socks. Now, I think that I've got great colors for it. I've got yellow for the bees. I've got blue for the sky. I've got like this creamy color there. And I've got green for the grass. And I think that she has like there's like a flower in it too. And I really could probably use anything that I wanted. I might use like that speckly color. I think that could look pretty, or I might just like separate out some of this pink, this tiny little ball. Yeah, I think I like that better. So we'll say that. And then this leaves all kinds of room to play for the little small projects. Because honestly, with that stuff, I will probably just like mess around and see what I can use up and play. I'm coming back to the yarn that I had set aside for all of my Christmas projects. And I have looked back through everything and I feel really good about what I've selected. The only thing that I kind of have made an adjustment to is my dad's yarns. I feel like I just kind of picked 2 yarns and stuck them together yesterday. And I went back through and I sort of looked at more of the little fingering weight yarns that I had sort of set to the side, and I've kind of decided to go a little bit more wacky and throw more colors in. So I'm going to show that to you all. Here's the yarn that I'm thinking about now. I'm going to keep this same primary gray, like funky gray color that I had selected out. And this is actually just a scrap version of the larger skein that I had in the previous clip. But I want to go ahead and try and use that up first before I like open something new. And then I also picked out, this is a little bit of Sandness Garn Duo, I think it is. So it's like a cotton blend. And I kind of want to like throw that into the mix. And then I decided, you know what, I've had this little ball of Noro for like kind of a while. And I think that it could look really cool mixed in there. And then I also have a couple of these sock weight yarns. And I think what I'm gonna do is not be scared to just like start combining things. And instead of trying to make the whole thing be cohesive, I'm gonna try and do sections of stripes and like almost a color blocking, but where all of the yarn is being held double or possibly even triple depending on how I'm feeling about it. So I do think this is one that's like might be a little bit experimental, but also I think my dad will be excited about it. All that's left now is to actually make the projects. I'm feeling really excited about having sat down and come up with a plan, and I feel like maybe I will actually get it done early instead of waiting until the last minute now. I'm also feeling really excited about actually using yarn that I've had and that I've had for kind of a long time in some cases. I know that I don't have a huge collection of yarn. It's not like overflowing and it isn't anything that's like stressing me out at the moment, but I am very excited to actually use the things that I have and get to give it a new home to people that are going to be excited about having it. My job now is to actually make the work, start working on my gifts, and keep it rolling. Thank you for watching my video. It was very fun to make it, and like I said, I think it's going to be good for me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.